Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 12 of Berries and Tea. So good to see you all. Happy Women's Day. I thought I'd dress up for us ladies. Today we have a lovely lady as our guest, Houyem. She'll be joining now. Hi, Liberty. And we'll be talking about fertility and how the hell to avoid pregnancy and how to invite pregnancy at the right time. So we'll be waiting for Houyem to send a request in to join, and we'll have her beautiful face on our screen. Where is she? There are some issues connecting. I did notice that. There she is, Wise Moons. Request to join. And here we are. View.
Fingers crossed. Yay! Hi, Houyem.
Hi, good to see you.
I haven't seen you in so long.
And if you remember, it was we were due to do a beauty breakfast last year at the same time. Yeah.
Same time. That's crazy. Congratulations on your baby. I know it's
Thank
been a
you.
while.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on our show. So everybody knows that we will be talking about fertility. I think for me, as someone who is, not looking to get pregnant, I would love to know first if we can dissect the topic of how to avoid pregnancy without using contraceptive pill, without using different coils and I don't know what you put inside, what women put
Yeah.
inside these days. So how can we do it naturally? I have no knowledge about uh, temperature measurements. Not like I know nothing. So enlighten me and our audience on how can we control and be in control of the fertility process.
Yeah. So I just want to start by saying that I think it's a big misconception that we think, tracking ovulation is just about making babies. And it's definitely not about making babies. It's about, as well as you said, preventing pregnancy. It's about contraception, but it's also about monitoring our overall health, and well-being, because our ovulation is a vital sign. And if we experience irregularity in our cycle or regular patterns of ovulation, this is a sign that that we have an underlying health issue, right? So this is what I love about FAM and about really tracking our biomarkers for fertility. It's like a whole new world of tuning in with your body, and just checking in with yourself, and understanding what's going on with your body, and understand as well how little thing can impact your cycle, like the food you take, the stress, travel, supplements, medication, anything can impact your cycle in a certain way, right? So I think that's why it's really important for not only women who wants to have baby or women who want to prevent pregnancy, but for every woman to be able to understand what's happening in our bodies.
Right. And by tracking the ovulation and knowing exactly what it is and how it is expressed, it is important, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So as I said, ovulation is a vital sign, right? So a lot of women, have been able to diagnose themselves and see that there was something going wrong, by just tracking their cycle, fibroids, or knowing that there is a thyroid issue, or knowing that there was something going on there, or just as I said, that there were maybe too much stress in their lives, or that they need to change their diet on their lifestyle in general, just by tracking
So
your
how do you track ovulation?
yeah. So I think first it starts with body literacy, and I feel that most of us are not we don't know enough of, what's happening in our body first, and I, just to talk a bit about my journey, I started discovering FAM when I was ready to conceive, and I started my journey into conscious conception, and I wanted to learn more about my cycles in general. And I was so angry that at my age, I conceived my daughter when I was 31. I just knew a little about my cycles and my body, in fact, and how my ovulation works, and how, I felt, and I think a lot of women, this is the case for a lot of women, that it's, your ovulation and your cycle and your reproductive system is something that function on its own, and then you have the rest of your body, but it's so, it's so interconnected. So this is where I started to discover FAM and read about it. So I think it starts with body literacy and knowing
Can you repeat
hormones,
that again? Body what?
Body literacy.
Oh,
Body
literacy.
literacy.
Oh,
It's really about understanding, your female body, I would say,
okay. So how,
yeah, and understand what's going on, with your, between your brains and your brain and your ovaries, and how your cycle works, right? So it starts with having a good understanding of your cycle, I would say, right? So we start our cycle on day 1 of our period with our menses for 3 to 7 days, and then we have an hormone called FSH that's trigger an egg to mature, and then we'll have an increase in estrogen that will increase the maturity of the egg, and then another hormones that will really trigger the egg to really go out from the follicle and be ready to be fertilized, and when that does not happen, then we have progesterone that comes up as well in our body, and then when fertilization doesn't happen, then progesterone goes down, and this is where we have again our cycle, right? So it starts with really understanding the cycle, the menstrual cycle, and the effect of all the hormones, right? And then there are so fertility awareness methods combine a lot of different methods, and it's not about, because, when I have some discussion with women, they're like, oh, I'm using it because I'm entering my period in an app. This is not about entering your period in an app, because most of apps work with algorithm, and usually they work with, the typical 28-day cycle where you ovulate in day 14, which is completely nonsense, and we're all different. Some women will ovulate on day 10, and some women will ovulate on day 17, and you can, even you as a, as a woman, you can have different ovulation depending on the month, right? So it starts with knowing that, and knowing which methods of fertility you would like to use. And fertility awareness method is just about observing what's happening in your body on a daily basis, observing, taking note of that, and then, reading whatever you have as notes and as charts, right? So basically what we do, we take, it starts with taking the body basal temperature. So with a thermometer every morning. But now we have so many tools. We have wearable device where you don't have to take your temperature. You can wear it, wear a device on your arm, and it takes your temperature by itself. You don't have to do anything. So you take your temperature, because our temperature will change on the second part of the month after ovulation.
So do you measure, it's a silly question, but do you measure your temperature by just putting the thermometer under your armpit in your mouth, or do you actually measure your yoni?
So there are different methods. Some women will put it under their tongue, for a few minutes, and some women will put it under their armpit, and some women will put it in their yoni, depending on, because again, we're all different, and some women will think that it's more accurate to take the temperature in the yoni, and the variabilities are less, right? So it really depends. It's about you trying what works best for you.
And you can measure the temperature of your yoni with any thermometer?
Yeah, any thermometer.
Anything?
Yeah,
okay.
It has
and
to
then
be a basic thermometer, digital one, but anyone.
And you say the temperature changes. right?
Yes.
From before ovulation to after.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing about charting is that you want to know and confirm your ovulation, because no period app can forecast or can
Of
confirm
course.
your ovulation. Nothing, unless you check your temperature and you confirm that you have a peak of temperature. So after your ovulation, your body will produce progesterone, and it's a hormone that have a heating effect on the body. So your own temperature will increase, and you'll see it like that. You really see it in the chart, and that's what's beautiful. You have like a set of temperature in the first part of your cycle, and then boom, you have a shift, a thermal shift, and then you can identify that you've ovulated already.
That you ovulated already. But
Already.
during ovulation, Houyem, those 2-3 days, what is the temperature like then?
Yeah, so ovulation lasts for 12 to 24 hours maximum.
Oh, one
That's
day.
it. Yeah, and that's a big misconception as well. And this is what we've been told. Oh my God, you can get pregnant any time of the month. And of course, I mean, not. Women are fertile 5 to 6 days every month only, right? And it's around ovulation. It's before ovulation, because sperm can live up to 5 days. And during ovulation, and when ovulation is done and when the egg is out, it's possible to fertilize the egg for 24 hours, and then that's it, until the next cycle.
And then the temperature changes once the ovulation is done.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So in the morning, for example, the day before your ovulation, you'll get a temperature usually in the 36.5. And then you wake up the next morning and you have like a 37.3, and you're like, oh, okay, it might be, I think I ovulated. So it's good to wait another 2-3 days. Usually we say 2-3 days of high, temperature, to really confirm that, yeah, it really happened. I had my ovulation.
That is so interesting. Okay, after this call, I'm going on Amazon and I'm ordering a thermometer because I don't have one.
You'll see, it's just fascinating. Honestly, it's a fascinating practice, and it's just, yeah, I really feel it's also a healing practice. It's,
Yeah.
checking, to me time as well.
And Houyem, is it the same every month? Let's say, like, I figured out that, I'm ovulating on day 15 and 16, my temperature goes up, right? Like, that's it. So, would it be the same case every month?
No. I mean, it depends. Like, again, we're all different. And if you have a regular cycle, you can expect your ovulation to be around those days, like day 15 or day 16. But if you travel, if you experience some stress during that month, or, it can change. That's why it's really important to, especially when we want to prevent pregnancy or plan a pregnancy. I think charting brings this precision, and this confirmation that you ovulated on a certain day. So no, it will be around those days if you have a regular cycle. But if you, yeah, I mean, you cannot predict 100% that it's going to be these days.
So let's say for someone who wants to avoid pregnancy, it's safe to have sex after the temperature has risen.
Exactly. When you want to prevent a pregnancy, it's safe to have unprotected sex after you've seen 3 high temperature after ovulation. So let's say in the morning, day 1 after ovulation, my temperature is 37.3. Second day, 37.4. Third day, 37.4 again. Then I know it's safe. I've ovulated, and then I can have unprotected sex.
Right, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that the only way, Houyem, to let's finish off this whole prevent pregnancy? Is that the only way to kind of track when I can have unprotected sex, or are there other methods that, oh, it's safe to have sex now?
Yeah, so usually we combine the temperature check with the check of your cervical mucus, right? So your vaginal discharge that we have as women is also a sign of your fertility, because usually after your menses, after you bleed, your cervix will, to the effect of hormones, will start producing some sort of cervix, some sort of vaginal discharge or cervical mucus, right? And usually it's going to be dry, and then day after day it will start to get a bit more, you'll have more mucus, and it's going to be more like white substance until a few days before ovulation. Will have, and you can see it, you will have fertile cervical mucus, which will have the consistency of egg white. We call it egg white cervical mucus. And this is the fertile cervical mucus that will help spermatozoid to really go and find their way to the egg. It really gives lots of nutrients for the sperm to live for a few days, until the egg is released, right? So this is when if you want to plan a pregnancy, this is where you'll have to have sex. And if you want to prevent, this is where it will be typically a period where you have to avoid or use other contraceptive methods. Yeah.
So I'm like shocked a little bit because like I've never really used any other like pills or coils or whatever, but since such a young age, right, women have no choice but to use the contraceptive pill, no choice, or to insert the coil or whatever, or to do other methods. Why is that, Houyem? Why are we so I guess helpless? Why are we not told all of this?
Yeah, that's, I think, the question of every woman who discovers FAM. Why are we not told all of these? Can you imagine a world if every young girl would be taught what's happening in her own body? And this would, I think it would change a lot of things. And I see it, as I'm a doula and childbirth educator as well. And I really see it when I support women during pregnancy. We're so disconnected from this part of our body. We're so disconnected, and pregnancy forces you to come back to that part of your body. And I see it. I mean, we are losing our intuition. We're losing our connection to our womb. We're losing to this deep knowledge, this inner wisdom that we have as women. And I really believe that learning about our menstrual cycle from a young age can relieve this inner wisdom that we have. But why we're not taught? I mean, I have my own view on that, and I guess we're living in a patriarchal system where maybe women power is not viewed as something good, and there is something else. I mean, even doctors themselves and OBGYN are not taught fertility awareness in medical school. They're not taught. They're taught to, whenever a woman comes and she experiences heavy period or pain, painful period, to just prescribe the pill. And it will solve the problem. Oh, it will regulate your cycle, or you'll not have, but it doesn't regulate your cycle. It suppresses your cycle. And I'm all for informed consent here. And I don't think that women are given informed consent concerning all the hormonal birth control and copper IUDs, etc., because it has long-term effects on our health.
Yeah.
Like hormonal birth control have lots of negative side effects, anxiety, depression, eating disorder, mood swings. It triggers certain type of cancer, strokes, etc. So we're not taught of that. We thought that it's safe to take it. So
and some women take it non-stop for like 5-7 years, and then when they come off it, they think everything will go back to normal and they can get pregnant like that. But no, that's not the case.
Exactly. That it even shrinks, your ovaries, right? So women who come out of birth control, it does. So it takes between 6 to 18 months after stopping the pill to really transition and to get back to, I would say, a full reproductive health, to be able to get pregnant, right? Some women get pregnant the cycle after, but for some women it can take months and years to go back to a normal cycle.
And if the ovaries shrink, what so they produce less eggs, right? They're not as like 100%
Yeah.
functional anymore, right?
Yeah, so that's why when you read at a study, there are studies that shows that women who get pregnant right after stopping the pill have a higher incidence of miscarriages, birth defects, etc. So yeah, it impacts the
Wow,
quality of your eggs tremendously.
quality
Yeah,
of the egg.
yeah. And
Wow.
yeah, and I mean, we think as well that the copper IUD, which is not hormonal, would be safe. But I think it's important again to understand how it works. I mean, you are of course inserting a foreign object inside your body, so which is made of copper, and copper has spermicide effect, so it will kill the spermatozoid, but it also creates inflammation inside your uterus. And it creates this inflammation so that the lining of your uterus is not thick enough, so that even if an egg is fertilized, the egg won't be able to implant itself on the uterus. So it creates an inflammation, like a proper inflammation on your body. So again, I mean,
Wow.
it's important to understand how it works. Some women experience heavy bleeding after an insertion of a copper IUD, heavy bleeding, periods that are very painful sex, etc., etc. Yeah.
Oh yeah, does copper IUD also causes dryness?
Yes, for some women experience dryness as well, even because again we are creating inflammation and you're signaling to your cervix, your crypt of your cervix, to not produce mucus. And this is the same with the pill, by the way. It signals to your cervix to not produce any cervical mucus. So a lot of women will experience dryness as well. Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, Houyem, when are you writing a book? This is important. Like maybe I'm sure there's so many books
Yeah.
out there, but like I don't even know the titles of those books. And okay, and maybe they're available in English, but what about other languages like Russian and Arabic and other languages? This is crazy because I know so many people and someone close to me who's got an IUD, and she's a lot older, pre-menopause, and is experiencing dryness, painful sex, right? So it's like, well, that's the reason, but they would never connect the
Yes,
two.
exactly. Because we're
No, I
told it's
just have
safe.
dryness.
Yeah, we're told it's safe. And I was listening to a podcast last time, and this woman was saying that she was telling her doctor, "This is what I'm experiencing," and the doctor was like, "Oh, just don't listen to this other stories. It's not real. It's not case." So if you go to your care practitioner when you're expressing your concerns and you're told, "Don't worry, it's safe," most of women will not connect the dots and will be like, okay, it must be something else, right?
That's crazy. Okay, so just to summarize, before we get to the how to get pregnant side, just to summarize. So, in order to avoid pregnancy, people use traditionally contraceptive pills and copper IUD, right?
IUD, yeah.
So, IUD. So the copper IUD, the copper kills the sperm, but it also increases the inflammation of the uterus
Yeah,
wall,
yeah,
which can cause a lot like heavy bleeds and pain, and
yes.
the embryo, or not the embryo, but yeah, the fertilized egg doesn't really sit on those walls because it's too inflamed, right? So okay, so after they take the IUD out or after they stop taking the pill, then it takes some time to even come back to balance and alignment,
Yeah, there is
right?
always a transition period, and it can be supported as well with some food choices and
Mm.
supplements, and with the lifestyle, just to make sure that there is a transition and that we're supporting the healing, in fact. Yeah.
In fact, yeah. And also contraceptive pills, they may shrink the ovaries, and the ovaries will produce eggs that are not of the best quality. So
Yeah.
there may be miscarriages, birth defects, and so on. Okay, so the best way to help yourself prevent pregnancy is to measure, right, with a thermometer. I would say don't bother measuring armpit, tongue, just go right in there, go measure your yoni and chart and write. And the moment they the temperature rises for 3 days, that means that you have ovulated already and it's now safe to have sex until the first day of your bleed.
Yeah, but it's really important as well to combine it with the charting of the cervical mucus, just to make sure that, you can see when is your fertile cervical mucus and when is it safe or not. For women who are willing to take this method as hormonal contraception, hormonal birth control, non-hormonal birth control, sorry, is really, I think I would suggest as well to work with an instructor and to chart for at least a couple of months, 3 months.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that you get all the measurement, you understand how to chart as well your mucus.
Absolutely, because this is just we're just touching the surface here, just raising awareness, right, and bringing this to surface, exposing people to this knowledge that no, you don't need a pill, you don't need an IUD, you just need some proper education and knowledge on how to control fertility. And I know that you and Liberty are organizing an amazing course that's starting, I think, next week, is it?
Yeah.
Next week.
Wednesday, starting next Wednesday, yeah.
Right, and you'll be helping women either to do all of this, right?
Yeah, exactly. The honestly, the objective is raise awareness and really helping women to understand, what's happening in their body, in their cycle, and really we go to the detail of charting and really how to chart, depending on women's objectives and, and goals, whether you want to prevent a pregnancy, plan a pregnancy, or, assess your health, I would say. Yeah.
Incredible.
No,
go
I
ahead.
think I wanted to add, there is we call it a secondary charting method. I think it's a beautiful way to understand how our body function as well, is that we can check our cervical position. Really charting and seeing how your cervix moves depending on the time of your cycle. Because your cervix, so it sits like this, I would say. And what is beautiful is that during the first phase of your cycle, where you're not fertile, the cervix will be tilted backwards, will be closed, and will be hard to touch. So if you really go and check with your finger, it's going to be hard. You'll feel a hard surface. And when you move towards ovulation, the cervix will move, will tilt forward, and will be soft and open. Just to that's amazing how our body function, and it's just
why does it do that? Yeah, why
so
does it
move just because it's ovulation, so it would facilitate sperms to come in the uterus and go fertilize an egg. And when it's not your fertile period, so it will just go backwards and close. So so spermatozoid will not be able to go inside.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna sway here. What the fuck? Like the body has this natural contraceptive way, and nobody knew about this. I mean, I didn't.
Listen, see, and observe what's happening.
It's crazy. I think this knowledge, we need this in universities, First year of university, there should be a whole module for girls and boys on natural contraceptive methods.
I totally agree. I'm taking a training, I think it's in end of April, to be able to teach that to teenagers. And I would love to share this knowledge with younger girls. I think it starts with them, to be able to really understand the power of their body, the power of their cycle, how they work, and that they don't need to take a pill, when they are 17 or 18.
Oh my God, I almost feel sick right now. This is awful. Anyway, okay, so now we have a few minutes to discuss, and I need to, address that audience too. Not that I'm interested at all how to plan a pregnancy, but how, okay, so how would one go about planning a pregnancy? Well, first of all, if I may share myself from the yogic sort of knowledge, you would need to clean and cleanse and really be aligned in your mind with meditation and connection with your partner for at least 6 months before conception.
Yeah, I really agree. I mean, of course, so you can get pregnant without all of that next cycle, but I really believe in what we call conscious conception, and making sure that you are aligned physically emotionally, spiritually, mentally to, you know, your spirit baby somewhere, and of course your partner to really call in your baby. So I really believe that yeah, there must be like a you know, a cleansing practice for a few months and make sure that you are ready to, you know, carry this life inside of you. And I think FAM is just a way to optimize your fertility, and a way to really identify when it's a good way to have sex and, you know, to get pregnant. So we would go the same thing. You will chart, as you know, we discussed before. You will chart your cervical mucus. You'll chart your temperature, and then you'll take attention to your cervical mucus, and whenever you'll see that your mucus is changing in consistency and being more transparent, it means that you are in your fertile window here, and it's time to have sex, basically, right? So you'll have sex. So it depends. It could be every other day, or it could be every day, until you are identifying and making sure that you have ovulated, right, by your thermal shift. And what is good as well with charting is that you can chart, of course, your temperature, your mucus, your cervical position, but you can chart as well the day where you had sex. You can chart your mood. You can chart your stress level. You can chart the food that you took, and any supplements that you took, just to make sure that you've identified it has an impact on your cycle, right?
And if one charts, let's say, I had sex on day 14, and then in the next cycle, would you know already, oh, I'm pregnant, and that was day 14, so you will know the date of conception.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
so cool.
That's amazing, because the when I got pregnant, so both times I knew I was pregnant without taking a pregnancy test, just because, you know, I told you that we have in the second phase of the cycle, the progesterone will go up in our body, so the temperature will stay up until the day before your period. You'll have a thermal shift again, and the temperature will decrease, and you'll know that you'll have your period. And when you get pregnant, the progesterone stays high.
Yeah.
And you don't have this decrease in temperature. So I knew that, you know, I was supposed to have my period, but I didn't get that decrease. So I knew that I was pregnant, and I was
wow.
a few more days, and, you know, where I was, you know, yeah. And, you know, some women are able to see that they will miscarry as well, because they will see a shift in temperature, a slow shift sometimes, you know, or a shift after like a week after they were supposed to get their period. So they will see that they will probably miscarry, or because progesterone level are going down, right? So
if they do miscarry, that's also quite interesting, because they will know, oh, well, around the time that I conceived, I was stressed, right? Or I, you know, had a cheeky glass of wine, or I don't know, you know, so they could actually connect as well.
Exactly. And you can see that, you know, if it happens, and again, that's the good thing with the cycle, is that, you know, your conclusions about anything that's happening in your body should be seen on like 2 or 3 cycles at least, not one cycle. But if you see that, for example, you're trying to get pregnant, and that every time your progesterone level or your temperature goes, you know, down, maybe it might be good to check, because maybe you have any, you know, progesterone deficiency. Because progesterone is really, really important, because this is what keeps the uterus lining very fluffy, you know, for an egg, a fertilized egg to get implanted. And if you do not have enough progesterone in your body, then an egg cannot implant in the uterus. So women can really identify they have an estrogen or progesterone issue, you know, by charting their cycle. If you have, it's just fascinating. If you have, for example, after your ovulation, the second phase of your cycle should be around 11 to 16 days before you get your period. If you ovulate and you get your period after 7 or 6 days or 8 days, you know that you might probably have a progesterone deficiency, and it will be a problem if you want to conceive, because an egg will not be able to implant. A fertilized egg will not be able to implant.
And then if you do have a progesterone issue, also thyroid, Liberty just mentioned.
Yeah, thyroid is exactly. It's linked. We can see it as well when women have lower temperature than the average, the average, I would say, when women have consistently temperatures that are below 36, I would say, then it might be a sign that, something might happen. And again, it's not something that we can draw a conclusion in one cycle, but it's good to see, in few cycles. And it's when the temperature are consistently low, then it's good to have, some.
And if there is a progesterone deficiency, how would you correct it?
So there are different ways. Sometimes, women can correct them with lifestyle choices, making sure that, there is not, that you're not stressed, that you're hydrating well, that you're eating well, that you're not exercising like crazy, like making sure that all of these parameters are in line. You can check as well your vitamin deficiencies, magnesium, zinc, coenzyme Q10. So a lot of women experience vitamin deficiencies, and then it will impact your progesterone level. And for some women, they need to get prescribed like synthetic progesterone if you want to sustain a pregnancy. So really, it's case by case. It depends on the level, and for some. Yeah, and I've seen as well some cases where it was resolved just with, lifestyle and alternative practices like acupuncture and, so, yeah.
Oh my God, Houyem, 30 minutes ago, my brain was this size and now it's this size. Literally, you've just implanted like knowledge into my head, very useful knowledge that it's so empowering to know how amazing your body is, and having your own contraceptive methods that are natural, having your own way of this is when the body needs to get pregnant or wants to get pregnant and is the best time to get pregnant, not out of the blue. And also knowing how pregnancy is a journey, conception is a journey, and you need to prepare yourself prior, preparing that body, as you say, to have that spirit, soul, enter a nice home, right? And then sort of doing it at the right time. I think it's wonderful. So the next thing I'm going to do after I end this call is I'm ordering a thermometer. And also, and of course, I strongly recommend to girls that are interested in learning more about this, either planting a beautiful pregnancy or preventing it for some time, to do a course with Houyem and Liberty. They're starting next week, and you can be anywhere in the world to join, correct? And I think that would be so educating. I would join, but I'm just not in that pregnancy mode yet. I'm not. I'm quite happy where I am. I'm quite happy with just my steams for my womb. I just
But
connected
again,
to my womb.
I just want to say that you really don't have to even be like with someone and want to prevent a pregnancy too. This is knowledge.
I'm not even with someone, so I'm so single right now. so like I'm, it's just me and me and me right now. So so I will join your course when it's time. But for those that are in a relationship and constantly using condoms, or got the IUD, or I don't know what, like get onto the course and educate yourself, because this knowledge is like gold, and you pass it on to your kids, you pass it on to your loved ones, your sisters, and so on, right? So I think it's a great idea. Well done to you both for putting this together. And few things here that you want to say to our audience. What is the advice that you want to give?
Be your own, I would say be your own be your own medicine woman. It starts with that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it starts with that. Like make sure that you know what's happening with your body, and make sure that everything is connected as well, and your reproductive system is not something that's functional on its own, and can be impacted with everything that's happening in our life. So yeah.
Yeah, be your own medicine woman, I think is a beautiful sentence. And Steffi said something very funny. She said, it's perfect time to practice before I get into a relationship. Thanks, Steffi. I don't even have
Exactly.
anybody on the horizon. So I'll wait, I'll wait.
Ah,
But honestly, Hoyam, also, I wanted to share with you that I connected to my womb just like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when Liberty and I, started talking about our courses with Kundalini yoga and steaming, and I was like, what the hell is the womb? I don't even
yeah.
feel it. I never think about it. What? Like there's just the vagina that pees, that bleeds, and that's it. That's it. And I think most women are like that. I hope. So my journey with the womb just started, and it's wonderful to be experiencing it through the steam, and then noticing now, really watching the discharge. What is it? I'm just honestly getting into it, and it's so beautiful. And now learning more from you will deepen my journey, and then when I'm ready, then I will join your hopefully you'll do more though, right?
Yeah,
Hoyam,
yeah, we
you're not
hope that
just gonna do one.
we'll do more
Exactly.
cycles. Yeah, yeah, we'll do more sessions. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great. So,
Enjoy knowing
ladies,
about your womb. You'll see the knowledge is infinite and it's just amazing. Yeah.
infinite, it's crazy. And maybe I should read some books too about
Yeah,
that.
I did a post by the way yesterday on the books, like most, like my 5 favorite resources on the subject. So you can check my post that I did yesterday. There are a lot of yeah,
Perfect. I
my
do that. And
favorites.
everybody else, you guys follow Hoyam. She's wise.moons. I'll post that as well in the text. Thank you so much, Hoyam. I think this was wonderful. So I feel like a little bit cleverer than 30 minutes ago. I feel a little smarter, honestly. I do. I'm like going to like share this knowledge
Yeah.
with my girlfriends now, although most of my friends know this anyway. But awesome. Thank you so
Thanks
much
for having
for
me.
participating in Berries and Tea, and wish you all the best luck with your course, and hope for you to have many more, and hope for you to also influence teenagers and younger women to shine light onto the right path for them.
Yeah.
This is your responsibility. This is your mission in this life, which is a beautiful mission.
Yeah.
And for everybody else, I hope you enjoyed this session with lovely Hoyam. I hope you learned a lot. And please do follow Wise Moons and see what else you can learn from Hoyam and enhance your journey as well, whether it's preventing or planting or just female health, right? Female
Exactly.
hormonal health.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. And next week we have another Berries and Tea, and our guest speaker will be Natalie from Modi Body.
Ooh, so
Yay! We all love. Pardon?
so interesting. I'll for
Yes.
sure be there to listen.
Yeah. So we'll have Natalie here. Very excited. So until then, have a wonderful week, all of you. Mwah! And I speak to you soon. Bye, Huya. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.